4 days or so, 5 days, I felt uncomfortable going up the elevator. I didn't know where to go. Forgot what door to walk through. Welcome on in. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. I take you up until 2 a.m. We just consumed some Thursday night football, a little Denver Broncos Chargers action, and now it's time to get focused on what really matters. And that, of course, is the Philadelphia Eagles. So if you want to jump on board as we gear up for a big matchup with the Commanders, the phone number is 215-592-9494. And I want to get into this. I keep hearing from other Eagles fans out there, not all of them, but there is a good portion that feel we have to respect Washington more. And it makes me laugh. I think that's ludicrous. The Eagles have nothing to worry about. But for some reason, there's a portion of fans that feel the Commanders are hungry. That Dan Quinn won't make a similar mistake that he made when they previously met on Thursday Night Football, which, if you remember, he decided to not kick a field goal down 2 points in the fourth quarter, and the Eagles responded with 5 plays and punching 7 points on the board, getting an interception, and then 2 plays later, getting another touchdown. That was the turning point. And for some reason, there is fear that Dan Quinn all of a sudden is going to become the best head coach to ever live, which I find hysterical. What you can't do is disrespect the greatness of this team, the way they are determined, the way they have so much desire, and the most important, the disparity in talent. I don't care that, quote, the win streak has to end eventually. You're not giving me football reasons on why the Commanders should be some sort of threat Sunday at 1 o'clock. Because the truth is, they're not a threat, and I really believe that the Eagles have nothing to worry about. So here's my question. Are you worried at all about the Commanders maybe finding a way to win because it's a division game? Or because the Eagles are due? Or maybe because you feel that the Commanders are actually a talented enough team to sneak one by the Eagles? I don't know. I'm asking you because I was stunned and in disbelief hearing this tone from many of you. We have to respect Washington. Why? I'm respecting the Eagles. This Eagles team is magnificent. And all they do is win and win and win. So now I don't have to respect Washington. I'll respect my football team, who's on a 9-game win streak, who have not lost since the bye, beat up on Pittsburgh, beat up on the Ravens, beat up on this same team on a short week, found a way. Mixed in there was a road win against the Rams. It's crazy. Now, here's what I want all of you to listen to right now. Here's Washington's running back, Brian Robinson, on the previous matchup and sort of looking ahead to Sunday. This was on Sports Talk Radio down in Washington. Take a listen.
We feel like we are the better team, and we just got to go play better. When we prepare, obviously we're going to do what we do. We're going to attack them. We're going to go right at them. We got to execute better than they execute. It's going to be one of those type of games. Be on top of our game from start to finish. We can't come out playing around with them. We just got to go out there and handle our business. I feel like if we come out and we do that, we will get the win.
That's silly. What happens when the Eagles handle their business? You can't compete. And it's pretty night and day, the tier that the Eagles are in. I mean, did you watch how they dominated Mike Tomlin's team where they went on a 10-plus minute drive to end it? Believe it or not, I actually thought that Mike Tomlin made the right decision to punt the football because on 4th and 7, their offense versus our defense is a matchup that would scare the daylights out of me, and their defense, in theory, probably is better than their offense on 4th and 7, even against the Eagles' offense, if all that makes sense. But reality is, that's how strong we are as a unit. that we can milk 10 and a half off the clock and you never see the football again. If the Eagles control what they can control, the Commanders lose by 30. And if Brian Robinson can't see that, God bless. You got to remember, we have a rookie in Quinyon Mitchell who didn't allow Terry McLaurin to get targets. We're not talking receptions. We're talking targets. Vic Fangio has been in the league longer than their rookie quarterback has been on earth. He's going to eat that quarterback alive. So it's cute that the Commanders have all the confidence in the world and think that they control this game and the outcome. But reality is, you don't know what's coming. You're downplaying the excellence of this unit and who they have become even since we last saw you. Because the Eagles were winning a lot of games when the Commanders were most recently on the schedule, but yet they've even turned it up a notch from that. That was almost about 80% or 75% of who the Eagles are now. So it's going to be straight up domination as I anticipate it being. 215-592-9494. The Eagles have nothing to worry about. And I'm curious if you are worried at all about the Commanders. We have more audio from that locker room. Here's the linebacker for the Commanders talking about this matchup as well.
I know you guys have played other big games this year, but playing Philadelphia, division opponent, playoffs just a few weeks away in December, what does it mean to be in a game like this? How excited are you for it?
I'm excited for it. Just from the first game, we just couldn't finish. It's stuck with me, and I know for a lot of guys in the team. And it's a division game. It's going to be a dogfight, and I know they're going to bring their best, and we're going to bring our best.
Frankie, Saquon Barkley. First meeting, until the fourth quarter, you kind of held him in check. He broke a couple of long runs in the fourth quarter. What can you learn from that first game? And obviously he's playing at a high level.
We just got to play all four quarters, the main thing. I think the big thing is, I think he's good at his second half of the game. That's when he kind of have a rhythm and knows, when the defense kind of we're on the field for a long time. That's where he kind of, break a run and whatnot. But, just a special player, and we just got to stop him early and, have him one-dimensional, keep him in the phone booth as always, and also keep account for Jalen too, using his feet and, making big plays out of the pocket.
Controlling the line of scrimmage, the physicality of an NFC East game in December. What are these games like? Because the stakes are pretty high in these games.
Man, it's going to come down to physicality, heart, and just passion, man, for the guys. It's going to be, the weather's going to play a factor into it, and, it's just got to come down to us who wants it more, you know what I mean? So it's going to be a dogfight, and I know, it's not going to be easy, but we're going to get it done.
No, you're not. No, you're not. The Saquon thing's funny. Hearing him talk about, just keep him in a phone booth. All you got to do is make sure our defense isn't out there for a long time in the second half. Dude, I just told you about the defense of Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's defense was just stuck on the field for 10 and a half minutes in one quarter. If Kellen Moore and Barkley and this passing game, if we continue to see that taking strides as well, are able to accomplish such a lethal goal against a Pittsburgh defense that has TJ Watt and, spare me with some additions they made, whether it's Lattimore and he didn't play previously. Come on. What are we doing here? To me, it's so simple. This is going to be a beatdown. And there's not 1 ounce of my body that has any sort of worry in the world about a Commanders team. They are, you know what they are? They're a team that's happy to be here, considering their ownership group was one of the worst ownership groups in all of sports. He had to be removed big time. There was some serious problems with all the other owners and what he was doing off the football field as a horrible human being. Now you sell it to, ironically enough, people we are very familiar with. And reality is, They are excited to have this fun little story in who the quarterback is, and there's some fresh new life because you're turning the leaf of not having Dan Snyder anymore. But it doesn't compare to the mission that the Eagles are on as a unit, and they're not going to be denied. I heard this one, too. This one cracked me up. It's a road game. Are you kidding me? It's a road game. These are from fellow Eagles fans. It's a road game. Have to watch out. You're not going to win 10 in a row. It's a division game. It's a road game. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Come on. First off, a road game in Washington's a home game. So, yeah, I'm a little fired up because I expected better from the people here in town. But I'll ask you the question as we get started. Are you worried at all about Washington? Because I keep hearing that we have to, quote, respect the Commanders more when breaking down the strategy in this matchup. And I think that's crazy. 215-592-9494. I see you on hold. You can join the phone lines. We're getting started here. A little awkward break just due to the fact that we're wrapping up Thursday Night Football. We will get right back on track and get this thing started with all of you listening. 215-592-9494. It's Brodes, and it's 94 WIP. The Eagles do make me happy. And here's the phone number to hop on board, 215-592-9494. What we are discussing, if you're just joining, is there have been many comments thrown my way from our own blood, meaning Eagles fans around this town. And I've been very optimistic about this week, as I think a lot of us have been. But there is a minority out there that feel we aren't giving the Commanders enough respect. And to that, I say, stop with the nonsense. Be quiet. Have some faith in your team, who is significantly better than anything the Commanders can throw our way. The last time these two teams met, their best receiver couldn't even get a lick of separation off our corner, Quinyon Mitchell. Couldn't even do it. Now, maybe he can get one target, okay? Maybe he can get one or two targets. He won't be getting enough targets for that offense to hum. With the way Jalen Carter's playing, stop it. Nolan Smith, he's been able to be way more noticeable, way more chaotic. It's all good stuff. Eagles are way better than the Commanders, and I don't believe we have to respect Washington more. I have nothing to worry about. What say you? 215-592-9494. Let's go to the phones. Let's kick things off with Mike in Cherry Hill. Good morning, Mike.
Yo, what's going on, Brodes? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm all right, coming back home from another disappointing Flyers loss.
Oof, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, you know what it feels like. I wanted to play a little devil's advocate for you.
Okay.
Not specifically about this game against Washington. I think that's being a little blown out of proportion, and I think that's because that's the last good team we're playing on the schedule. But I think it's just, excuse me, as a whole, what is this city used to more than anything else? Even taking this last season out of the equation, they're used to disappointment. They're waiting for the sky to fall. And I think with good reason, right? In my time, I've experienced 2 championships and a lot more losses than I have wins. So at what point do people really start giving the benefit of the doubt here? I think just as a collective, it's just, what's the next domino to fall?
I get big picture that we are definitely accustomed to heartbreak. You know, losing to, let's say, the Arizona Diamondbacks was dreadful. Losing to the Mets was painful. So, yeah, of course, I think we have experienced a lot of heartbreak. But at some point, you got to realize that this Eagles team seems to have a killer instinct that is legit. And, you know, if we are looking big picture at failure, meaning they don't win the Super Bowl, I don't know, and you kind of brought this up to start the show, or to start the call, is does that really relate to this week against the Commanders, or is that more of a big picture, hey, they might lose to a really good Minnesota team out of nowhere that we don't expect, or a banged up Detroit team? You know, we are so so used to failure that maybe we lose in that situation that would really hurt us. But this game against the Commanders, I don't see how they fall flat on their face.
I don't see either because they're so hot right now. I think, again, it just comes back to that anticipation of, like, when is the first domino going to fall? And people love to be pessimistic like that, to look for the little things that come into play and be able to point to. Everybody with the Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown thing, everybody jumped on that as a reason to, oh, God, here we go again, when that turned out to be nothing, when they came out and proved you wrong time and time again. But I just think as a whole, people are just waiting for that thing to fall, so they cling on to every single thing they can, almost to prepare themselves.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting.
Just that much easier for them.
But to your point, Mike, and I appreciate the call, if we all got nervous and upset and got into our feels about the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts stuff, and that ended up to be nothing, then that applies to this team as well. If you're going to get up in arms about every little thing and get nervous about every little thing because we are, quote, accustomed to losing so much in this town, well, at some point we were wrong about being worried about A.J. and Jalen. Maybe you could be wrong about this team failing when it's all said and done. I look at it differently, though. When a team shows you that they are capable of winning this many games in a row after a 2-2 start, and the Lions are breaking down, and Minnesota's putting up a good fight, but there's no Pat Mahomes on a legit tear that's staring in your face in the NFC. You don't have to play that prior to a Super Bowl appearance, and the path is there, and there's a legitimate path for this puppy to work out for us. And when I'm in the here and the now, and when I'm in the moment, and when I'm absorbing this team on a week-to-week basis after what they just put on tape against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I can't feel any sort of negative stuff. Look, when it rains, it pours, and I'm an emotional guy, so I will sink into the grossness and the ugliness and the bad stuff that happens. And yes, it does emotionally snowball for me because I am highly emotional. But with that said, when it's the flip side, and when it's great, and when it's fantastic, and when it's beautiful, I do the same thing. And that's where I am right now with this team as we gear up for Washington. So I'm not worried about Washington, to bring it back more into light of this game in particular. But I thought Mike brought up a good point that we as fans think negative, and we think more with a broken heart sometimes because we've seen it so much. Also, though, I think that's more normal than not because it is so difficult to win. Most cities feel heartbreak more than success, except for one stupid city that's north of us. I hate those Boston people. Let's go to Carl in Maple Shade. Hey, Carl.
Brodes.
What's up?
Got a story for you.
Hit me.
I couldn't be any happier.
Why's that?
Me and my buddy go back and forth. From the beginning of the year, we picked 4 games against the spread. I'm 37-24, and he's 40-20-1.
Oh.
Calls me up this afternoon around 4 o'clock. He says, "How much mad money do you have?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He says, "How much mad money do you have?" There's 4 of us right now that have 1,000 to put up. We're trying to get $5,000 on this game. Can you come up with 1,000?
Are you asking me to put a G in there?
No.
Oh.
I don't know why I did it, but I did.
Good. I think you're good. Now, is it money line or is it with the spread?
It was on the game tonight.
Oh, the game tonight. I thought you meant the game coming up on Sunday.
No, he calls me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He says, "I want you to put every dime of mad money you got on this game tonight." And I would have shot myself if I would have lost. We won $5,000 between the 5 of us. We all came up with $1,000 and we hit for $5,000.
Wow, good for you, Carl. That's a good day at the office.
Oh my God, this is my first bet of the year. I haven't bet in 10 years.
Now, Carl,
But
let me ask you this.
So good at picking games.
Yeah?
And we do it for the fun of it.
Of course.
I don't know what let me do something like that, but I did it, and it turned out right.
Carl, now are you going to take those winnings and enjoy something else with it, or are you going to double dip and see if you can turn that 1,000 into 2, 3, 4, 5,000 for yourself? How are you going to handle this?
No, that's going into family Christmas. I'm not gambling another daggone dime of it. It'll go into Christmas presents for family.
I love that. That's a good move, Carl. That's a very, very family-oriented move that we can all respect. 215-592-9494. About that, Carl throwing a couple bones down on a Denver game. A little Denver Chargers, maybe sweating it out to the end. Although I think the Chargers and that Herbert drive kind of silenced the noise there.
Throwing that much money down on Thursday Night Football is crazy. You still got the whole weekend.
Well, he said that's the only bet he's had all year. So I don't think he was.
That's fair.
He was
That's
waiting
fair.
for college football Saturday with the Nittany Lions.
But I mean, oh man, just sweating it out on a Thursday night. I mean, I guess he's gonna be sleeping good tonight. But man,
yeah, with all games that you could throw a G on, not that would be a bad game matchup wise, because I think we all saw two interesting teams. It's an interesting matchup, but to go a G on it, like if you wanted to go Eagles-Ravens, a G, or Eagles-Steelers, a G, a game of the week where it's 4:25 Sunday primetime matchup, then by all means. But some of this Thursday night football stuff has been crap.
oh my God, it's been. They could have went into this game tonight. The game could have been terrible. Look at the game last week. Not a single touchdown. So I mean, good for Carl. I like Carl. He's my guy. But I'm glad he won. But man, that is risky. And Thursday night football, I mean, like you said, it's either going to be a great game like it was tonight or just absolutely terrible. There's no in between. It's never like, oh, it was a pretty good game. It's like, wow, it was amazing. Oh, it stunk.
Mm-hmm. I know. Yeah, that's interesting. What a way to start off the program. Let's go to Dennis in Springfield. Hey, Dennis.
Yo, Brodes. I mean, I consider you a kindred spirit, almost like a long-lost son, because I know what the age differences between us. And first of all, let me get the Commanders out of the way. Talk to me in 3 years. Talk to me in 3 years. That's when the Commanders will be able to challenge us. And if they're lucky, we'll be on a downslide a little bit. But don't give me the Commanders right now. They're just not ready. I said it when they played the first time. We're going to show the Commanders who the boss is. We're the boss. But here's why I called. And I haven't heard this on WIP at all today or yesterday. And I listen a lot off and on. I don't listen nonstop, so maybe it was mentioned. I heard two opinions nationally that, A, I've never heard about any other team in the NFL, and I don't know why these people would say this. The first opinion is Dominique Foxworth.
Yes.
You know this guy?
Yeah. Yep.
You hear this guy? Did
Yes.
you hear what he said?
Yes, he said that Jalen Hurts has pretty boy privilege.
What the hell is that?
I don't know. And Dennis, to make it worse, I think people started to dig up some of his previous podcast stuff, and his wife was on the show with him, and she was talking about how handsome Jalen Hurts was. So now there's a conspiracy theory out there that he's obviously jealous of Jalen, considering his wife thinks he's an attractive man.
Well, guess what else Dominique Foxworth is?
What's that?
He's a cousin of Dak Prescott.
There you go. Now we're putting more pieces together.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, how about this other doofus who would be even a less of a doofus if he didn't play with Tom Brady? Julian Edelman. Have you heard his comments?
I don't think so. Hit me.
The Eagles players do not respect Nick Sirianni, and that will be their downfall and the reason they do not reach the Super Bowl.
That's crazy. I used to feel that way, but if you're watching the games now, I think it's pretty obvious that this man has his hands all over this team, the way they play, everything. I think Nick Sirianni is very, very, very respected in that room because of all the controversy he had to deal with and the way that he sort of owned up to it and answered the bell. And I couldn't disagree more. And this is coming from someone who isn't Nick's biggest fan, but he's done a tremendous job with this locker room.
His evolution since the bye has been incredible. He has, in my opinion, he has not made one bad, wrong move since the bye week. He has pushed every correct button. The players, they say it. But have you ever heard comments like that about any other teams that are basically Super Bowl worthy teams? I mean, I watch this crap all day for some reason. Because I don't know. Maybe I'm a glutton for punishment or something. I don't know. Maybe because Edelman paid. Maybe because Edelman played for the Patriots and the Eagles beat them in the Super Bowl. But it seems like a lot of these national analysts have axe to grind. And I don't feel it like any other way.
They're not close enough to it. And Dennis, I appreciate it. They're not close enough to it. Is what it is. I don't think they're in the thick of it the way we are. And look, sometimes we overreact. There's no doubt about it. But Eagles football is in our blood and it's in our DNA, and we care about it so much that, yeah, I mean, we swing one way in one direction and swing another way in another direction. Sometimes we overhype teams. Sometimes we don't give teams enough respect. But we've been around. It's our brother, so we're allowed to do that. It's when you see someone else somewhat bully your brother, even though you do it, you're not allowed to bully the brother. I have to. I'm the one that's allowed to. You're not. It's that type of mentality. So I don't think that they're close enough to the situation to have a grasp on it. And there was something else I saw on ESPN radio. It was an Instagram reel that I accidentally stumbled upon as I was scrolling, and it was something similar of, whose team is this? It's not Nick Sirianni's team. It's Howie Roseman's team. And I'm going, who cares? Who cares whose team it is? Yeah, you know what? They have a great general manager, a phenomenal general manager that most teams would love to have. But Nick Sirianni is a part of this. You can't run away from that. And then they started to bring up Dan Campbell and what Dan Campbell has done. And he's the man who commands the whole organization. Nick Sirianni can't do that. Who cares? And yes, he can, number one. But number two, this team is great. Forget about all the details surrounding it. Right now, no matter what the makeup is, no matter how they do it, reality is the Eagles are a well-ran organization from top to bottom. So you got to realize this isn't the Jets, okay, who just had a report pop up that the 14-year-old kid is looking at Madden ratings to tell the owner to decline a Jerry Jeudy trade. It's not the Jets. It's not the Browns. It's not the Jags. It's not one of these teams where you need to sit there and truly question every decision made by the front office. This is a franchise that operates at a very high clip. They're an organization that wins a lot of football games and are constantly in the playoffs. So just realize they kick ass every week. They just beat up on a Steelers team where they went on a 10-plus minute drive to suck the life out of Mike Tomlin. And that's your takeaway this week? So it's stupid. It's silly. And here's the positive of it all. The Eagles are eating it up and spitting it out and using it as a momentum grab. They are. They could talk rat poison all they want, but I feel they are very determined because they want to prove everyone wrong. Jalen Hurts, his first comment stepping up to the podium was exactly that. That's what you wanted to see, right? They listen. They hear it. So if the national media is going to attack them day by day and second by second, and they're utilizing that internally to fire them up, so be it. So be it, because I think we're going to get what we want by that. At the end of the day, by this method and by the way that this Eagles team consumes some of the nonsense said about them and all the doubt, they are going to internalize that and let them be the fuel to the fire to get them to the promised land. I feel that confident about it. 215-592-9494. So when looking at this matchup on Sunday, I believe it's ludicrous to have any sort of worry. There is no reason to have more respect for Washington. This all started because I got a few comments about me being too optimistic with this matchup, and I need to respect the Commanders more. No, I don't. I respect them to a fine level. They're a nice team. They're not a bad team. They're just not as good as we are. And if we control what we can control, this should be another W. It should keep the win streak rolling. And I'm not worried about it. What say you? 215-592-9494. Let's go to Tom in Alabama. Hey, Tom.
Yo, Brody, how you doing, my friend?
Good. What's up?
Nothing, man. You know, I stopped worrying years ago, man, about this deal because whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Let the chips fall where they may. Yeah, disappointment. I've seen 6 of them. I've been alive since 1967. And, you know, I feel really good about this deal right here. You know, as far as worrying about anybody, I'm worried about how bad the Eagles are going to go down to Washington and kick their ass like we've been kicking everybody's ass on a consistent basis week in and week out. And, hey, you know what? We've been going since week 5. Why might as well just go ahead and run the damn table. The hell with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I just mentioned all the national media attention. I know for a fact that Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, any of those guys heard what Brian Robinson said on Sports Talk Radio down in Washington, where they are going to utilize that to go out and beat up and destroy the Commanders because they're looking at it like, and I'm saying they being the Eagles, the Commanders really think they have a shot. They really think that they are a better team than us, and they feel they have a chance to beat us on Sunday, and that's not going to happen. So I think all these comments made by their locker room over the last 48 hours is actually going to bite them in the ass when it's all said and done.
I'll tell you what, man, Washington has been, ran us over for a lot of years, and it's time for us to run them over, man. I mean, with Riggins and Theismann and Joe Gibbs and all that deal with their 4 Super Bowls and the Giants with their 4 Super Bowls and Dallas with their 5, I'm sick of it, man. I'm ready to take this division and start winning it every year, man. We hadn't swept the division since 2004. Okay, we need to go ahead and handle that when we're running the table. And, with Hurts, I mean, he's – everybody, it's tough to be in his position right now. I know he's making a lot of money, but it's a lot of pressure because we're talking, everybody's talking. Hey, you know what? It's football. It's different. It's men out there digging, dead tired in the fourth quarter. It's a physical game, and it comes down to who wants it more. And with that offensive line and that defensive line and with the backfield and with the backfield and the defense, and with Nick Sirianni, I feel damn good, Brody.
I love it, Tom. I appreciate your call.